So the NBA trade deadline is rapidly approaching and we keep hearing the same names. The Bulls, we keep hearing Zach LaVine, Vucevic. We keep hearing about Jimmy Butler, obviously. Some sprinkles of Brandon Ingram and Cam Johnson. The same names we keep repeating. But in this NBA full of parity, it's kind of difficult to gauge who's going to be a buyer and who's going to be a seller. I mean, we know the definite sellers, the terrible teams, the Wizards, the Pelicans. The Blazers should be sellers even though they're balling right now. They're going to be sellers. The Nets, the Hornets. The terrible teams are going to be sellers. But I'm more intrigued by the teams in that playing range, like the Hawks, who have now lost 7 in a row, but there's pretty much nothing they can do to miss out on the play-in. Assuming the Bulls are going to, sell, assuming they're going to trade LaVine or Vucevic or both of them, right? The Bulls are probably going to be outside the play-in. But even if the Hawks somehow did end up out of the play-in, right? Philly jumps up, the Bulls jump up, and the Hawks are the 11th seed. The Hawks don't own their first round pick this year. So what is their plan right now? I've just seen rumors that from Windhorst that they're interested in Brandon Ingram. I'm not really sure what they're doing there. So let's put that to the side for a second. A guy like DeAndre Hunter, to me, it seems like the perfect opportunity to sell high. He's having a career year, but if you're a Hawks fan, you already know he's never healthy. He's already 27 years old. And you have your potential starting front court or starting forwards of the future in Ricochet and Jalen Johnson, right? Hopefully. And we keep hearing how there's this robust market for Cam Johnson, even though that name is kind of quieted down. We haven't heard much about him lately. But you would assume teams that are interested in Cam Johnson would also maybe be interested in DeAndre Hunter. A team like the Grizzlies, maybe. What about the Orlando Magic? We keep hearing how they need shooting, and everyone says it in the form of a guard. But maybe DeAndre Hunter would be a nice wing to put next to Franz and Paolo. So if you were running the Hawks, what would it take to get DeAndre Hunter from you? And again, keep in mind, you do not have a pick this year to address a certain need. If the Magic called you right now and said, we'll give you Cole Anthony, Jet Howard in our first round pick this year, are you hanging up the phone, or is that something that might intrigue you? And if the season ended right now, that would be pick number 16 this year. You get a backup point guard in Cole Anthony. You don't really have one right now. Who knows what's going to happen with Kobe Buffkin when he comes back next year? I don't know, but it's fascinating, these teams that are in this play-in range, especially when you don't have a pick like the Hawks. So even if they wanted to tank, there's no reason for them to. But the Hawks also have Clint Capella on an expiring deal. It seems like they finally committed to Okongwu now. So does anyone want Clint Capella? Probably not at this point. Not for the money he's currently making. And then you have Bogdanovic, who at the beginning of the year I said would be in these trade talks, but he's currently having the worst year of his career and he's already 32 years old. So do you risk it and say, we're not going to trade him at a low, he's going to bounce back next year? Or do you say he's on a downward spiral and we got to get rid of him right now? I don't really know. So the Hawks to me are fascinating at this deadline, and that was before I even heard about the Brandon Ingram rumors. So Clint Capella, Hunter, Bogdanovic, what do you do there? I think you don't have to, but I think you should sell high with DeAndre Hunter right now. And the deal I propose is not necessarily selling high, but you guys get what I'm saying. And now that I said it out loud, it makes perfect sense why they might be going after Brandon Ingram, right? I said who wants the money of Clint Capella? A team that didn't mind bringing in expiring deals. And a big reason why the Pelicans want to move on from BI anyways is because they want to get off of the money. They want to be under the apron, right? Which is why the BI trade was always going to happen. Even if they bring back BI on his current deal, like 36 million, they can't even pay him that next year. Obviously he's not signed next year, but they can't even, if they were to extend him, they can't extend him that number without being over the apron unless they got rid of CJ, which is a whole different discussion. But for a team like the Pelicans, bringing in $22 million of expiring money in Clint Capella is actually pretty useful to them. It actually makes perfect sense, right? I'm sure if you guys have been paying attention, why have you been paying attention to the Pelicans? You're clearly not paying attention to the Pelicans, but if you have been, you've seen Daniel Tice and Javonte Green as names that were gonna be moved regardless because those two deals would get them under the tax or whatever, right? So in this hypothetical, it would fit perfectly. Brandon Ingram, Daniel Tice, Javonte Green, Clint Capella, Bogdanovic. I don't know what picks would be worth it at this point, but I'm talking myself into it. I know I got a lot of new subscribers here, but if you've been around, you know I'm always going to end up talking myself into Brandon Ingram being a good fit. But then if you do make that move, would you not double down on it and then trade DeAndre Hunter? Am I tripping? Am I doing too much? Because you'd be trading for Brandon Ingram to extend Brandon Ingram, and let's just say a modest number of $35 million, right? Let's just say that's the extension. He's getting paid $35 million for the next 3 years. Annually, I'm saying. And DeAndre Hunter's deal goes up. So in 2026, he's going to be making $25 million. So you're going to be paying $60 million for DeAndre Hunter and Brandon Ingram? I don't think so. I don't know. I'm rambling at this point. I'm a little bit excited. When I sat down to make this video, I was not even planning on making a Hawks video. I was going to talk about teams that might be sellers at the deadline that we're not expecting, but it just makes sense now. Brandon Ingram, Clint Capella's expiring, and Bogdanovic, probably a first-round pick. Pelicans have to eat the salary of Bogdanovic, maybe rehab his value. I kind of think this is going to happen because it makes a lot of sense. Now, I'm just excited right now because a lot of stuff is going to happen. We usually do this every year where we trick ourselves thinking it's going to be this crazy deadline. I don't think it's going to be crazy, but a lot of things are coming to a head right now, like the Warriors. They're kind of at the point where they got to do something. And I just seen this quote from Steve Kerr right now as I'm recording this video, literally 2 minutes ago. We're not in a position where we can say, nah, we're good, let's stand pat. That's the reality of where we are. The Warriors haven't been saying stuff like that recently. They've been saying, oh, we really like our team. We just got to get healthy. And nah, they're saying, nah, we're not good enough. The Jimmy Butler situation, Miami tried to ignore it. They tried to say we don't have to trade him. Nah, they finally come to the realization they probably got to trade Jimmy Butler. Obviously, Brandon Ingram, you only have 1 more week to trade the guy. So either you're going to trade him or you're going to get nothing for him. So a lot of these things are at the boiling point. The Bulls pick is top 10 protected. So if they keep winning too many games, all of a sudden they don't keep their top 10 pick. So there's a lot indicating that moves are about to be made. And that's only talking about like the desperate teams. That's not talking about teams like, you know, the Pistons. Like, what are they going to do? Could they possibly make a move to get better this year? Teams like Orlando, already spoke about them. I think a team like the Clippers might make a move. I think there's going to be a lot of movement here. No real crazy names besides Jimmy Butler, like Zach LaVine and Brandon Ingram are a step down from that. But I think we're going to see some real movement right now. I don't know. I'm excited. Hopefully the Warriors, whatever move they make, can possibly keep Andrew Wiggins, because then that gets interesting. If they have LaVine and Wiggins or Butler and Wiggins, then we might be cooking with something. But I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below what your expectations are for this trade deadline. Are you excited? What do you want to happen? And also, what would you do if you were the Hawks? You don't have your pick this year. DeAndre Hunter, would you sell at a high? Would you keep him? Let me know all that. All that down in the comments below. Please drop a like. Please comment. Please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm out. Peace.